Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Sewing with Nightmare, and in today's video I am making a mock-up for fitting of a cosplay for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom dress. I have recorded the making of this mock-up and the pattern adjustments I have made to the pattern for fit. I will be making this dress live on Sunday, September 28th. I hope you will join me for the live event and watch the making of the actual dress. In this clip, I am taping together the pattern pieces. I got this pattern from Indigo Patterns on Etsy, and I really like this pattern maker. She has very detailed instructions that are ideal for beginners, and she also shares resources that can help you with your sewing if you have no experience with that particular step in the sewing process. For my pattern, I decided to print two sizes and grade them, so I taped together and cut quite a bit of paper here. So this pattern has 4 layers. There is a lining, an underdress, an overdress, and a skirt that goes underneath. The two dress pieces are sewn together with the lining, and there is also a skirt all the way under the dress that is not attached. So there's quite a few layers involved and quite a few pattern pieces, as you can see from all the paper that I used up, on top of the fact that I printed out 2 sizes. So in this clip, I am preparing to cut out the pattern pieces for the lining, because the lining will really be just the only piece that I needed to make in order to ensure that it had a good fit, because that one is supposed to be boned and it's also supposed to obviously fit pretty well. So I am preparing my fabric, which is a muslin, but it's a really thick muslin, so I went ahead and ironed it because it was all wrinkly and my pattern pieces wouldn't lay right on it. So I went ahead and ironed it, and then I cut out my pattern pieces and got started sewing. So in addition to the lining, I also cut out the underskirt piece, which you can see here, and that piece is a separate piece that has a waistband and a zipper of its own that goes under the skirt, or under the underdress rather, and I cut this out to make sure that it would fit me correctly, because sometimes I'm not sure about fit with pieces like this, so I just went ahead and cut it out so that I can make a mock-up for this one as well. In this clip, I am preparing to sew the princess seams on the front and the back of the lining for the dress. So I pinned together the princess seams, and then I went ahead and sewed them. In this particular mock-up, I did not bone it because it was just really big on me, so you'll see once I put the mock-up on that it's just really large on me, so I had to go in and modify it. And then in the second mock-up, I do actually bone it and see how it fits me for real, which will be my final changes to the pattern. So after sewing all of my princess seams, I go ahead and press them. And here I'm pressing it over a tailor's hem, which is a really important tool to have in your toolbox for ironing open curved seams. So here you can see that I have tried on the mock-up and it is huge, like all over. It's really big on the top. It's really big in the over my bust, and also there's some wrinkles in the back and on the sides too. Like you can see that I'm pinching out quite a bit here and putting some pins in, and I have a lot of modifications that I have to make to it. So I ended up putting some pins in it, and then also I was kind of debating on whether or not I have this wrinkle on my back and whether or not I needed to do a sway back adjustment, because it's a very strange wrinkle, and the more I did more research and stuff into it, I realized that I really didn't need to do a sway back adjustment. I just needed to make the hips a little bit bigger. So I just seam ripped part of the bottom seam on all of the princess seams all the way around, and it solved the wrinkle problem, and then I did not have to do a sway back adjustment. So here you can see that it fits me just a little bit better. I took in the upper bust area by a whole bunch, and now I'm just checking to see if there's any other fit issues, and it's still a little bit loose in the waist, so I'm just gonna pin some of that out and take that off the pattern as well. And then as I'm doing this, Nightmare comes up and asks for Snuggles, of course, and he's such a cutie. Attention. He has demands. The face could do. Okay, I took this part in, and then I went ahead and took in this side seam a little bit more too. I think I need a little bit more fabric here because I think that my hip, it needs to be blended out with the size here a little bit more for the hip, but this part needs to definitely be this snug. And you can see here in the back, I still have some of this pulling here and some wrinkles here, and I can't tell if I need to take it in more or not. This, I think, really has more to do with the fact that I don't have enough. I'm gonna have to take this seam out here and add a little bit more to the hip width here. I might have to blend it out to the higher size on this part of the pattern because I do have wider hips than my waist, and the bust on this was clearly bigger than what I needed because I had to take it in by probably about a ½ inch here and here on the side. The back seems fine. The side seam is in the right spot still. Yeah, the side seam's in the right spot, and the center back seam is relatively in the right spot. I mean, I have scoliosis, so it's not gonna be perfect. This, like I said, I think I need to open up this seam and make this a little bit bigger here so that it's not pulling here, and I'm probably gonna I still might need to take this in a little bit more up here. So actually that fixed it. Okay, so you can see that I still have a little bit, but I can't really tell if it's because of the shirt that I'm wearing underneath. So I'm gonna go try it on without the shirt and see how the fit issues are there. This, however, though, is a little bit of wrinkling, but like I said, it's better. It's much better. So I took this in as well. I took about an inch out off of the side because I have a very small waist compared to my hip. My waist to hip ratio is it's like 10 inches difference between my waist and my hip, so I always need more room in my hip, and that's why I always have trouble with fitting. This I think is okay. I'm gonna try it on without my shirt on and see how it fits with that, but I'm gonna do that off camera and we'll see how that goes. And you can hear Nightmare is yelling in the background. Hi, buddy! What you doing? He's being very needy today. I don't know why. He's being a very needy boy. He's a very needy boy. You got snuggles before? We're snuggling you on the table. Yes. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll do that off camera, and then we'll see if I need to make any further adjustments to it. Can I adjust you, Nightmare? Just a handsome boy. Oh, you took the face snuggles. What you doing? It's my handsome boy. It's my handsome Nightmare with your little humpback. What you doing? You need a scritchy? You need the ear scritchies? The ear scritchies. Oh, the ears are scritchy. The ears are itchy. Itchy ears and got fur. You're shedding. You're shedding like a crazy man. Okay, let's go do that.
So you can see here that I'm making modifications to the paper pattern, and how I generally do that is I make sure that the mock-up fits me pretty well, and then I will go in and cut the seam allowance off of all of my pattern pieces, or all of my mock-up pieces rather, and then I will trace those pieces without seam allowance back onto the paper pattern and then add back the seam allowance. That way I have a new paper pattern for the correct size that fits me, and I've already done that, which I guess I didn't record, and then here I'm doing that with the paper, and then what I'm doing after that is I trace it onto the larger size and cut it off. In reality, I probably should have done it just on the larger size, but I don't know what I was thinking. And then here I'm just measuring out the hip measurement to make sure from from seam line to seam line so I can make sure that it's actually going to fit me and that it's the right measurement for my hips. So here I'm cutting out new pattern pieces with the modifications that I made to the pattern. And once I did that, I went ahead and sewed it in the same manner that I did before. So I'm not going to show that because I think that's unnecessary for you guys to see me do the same thing again. But in this clip, you will see that Nightmare comes up for some snuggles and he lays right on top of what I'm trying to do. So here I am making the boning channels, and I only recorded part of this. So what I did was I just pressed open the seam and then sewed it down on either side. And like I said, this is going to be in the lining, so it really doesn't particularly matter how you make the boning channels because no one's going to see it anyway. It's going to be on the inside of the garment. So you can see here that the boning makes a huge difference. And the other thing that I did that I didn't realize was such a big problem was I keep trying it on with my clothes on underneath, and I'm not wearing like the bra that I would be wearing or whatever I would normally be wearing underneath it. So when I actually tried on the full garment, it was still a little bit too big on me. So even here, it's just slightly too big. But I ended up continuing to make it to see how it would fit. But you can see how the boning makes a huge difference in how the garment is laying on me. There are very few wrinkles, and most of those wrinkles are because of the clothes that I have on underneath. So it looks really good. So after I completed the lining layer, I went ahead and sewed together the outside portion of the underdress, and I put all those pieces together, including the skirt piece, which we'll see in the next couple clips. And then I tried on the final garment. So in this clip, I am pinning and gathering down the front part of this dress to the lining, and then I go ahead and sew it because this one doesn't have to be fitted, just the lining has to be well fitted to the body. So that's what I'm doing here. So once I sew the lining to the front part of the dress, I made the pleats in the skirt portion, which I honestly don't know that I recorded, but here I am making a narrow hem all the way around the bottom portion of the skirt. In this clip, I'm stitching the skirt to the bodice at the lining. Once this is done, it asks you to top stitch down the front bodice of the dress over the waistband. This will be covered by another dress layer, so none of the stitching will eventually show once it's complete. And I believe the reason why they do it this way is because of the boning. Instead of stitching the outer layer and then slip stitching the lining down like you normally would, because you can't really fold over the boning portion, so that's why they have you do it this way, I think. So the last part of this mock-up was making the underskirt. This was a pretty simple piece with just 4 pattern pieces. I sewed the darts, the side seam, center back seam, zipper, and waist band. This came together quickly and allowed me to be able to try on the final mock-up on camera.
My bobbin thread is out. God damn. How long have I been sewing like that for?
So as you can see here, the inevitable has happened and my bobbin thread has run out, and now I have to refill the bobbin and continue sewing. So this was probably the last thing I had to sew. So of course the bobbin thread had to run out at that moment. So here is the final mock-up. This dress is still quite long on me, and I have to go back in and look at the source images and adjust based on how long it is in the source images. The underskirt is also really long, so I have some research to do before Sunday and some pattern modifications, but for the most part the fit is not bad and I'm happy with it. I did take out about 1/4 of an inch in the bust, which should help with some of the extra room I have in there right now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like my content and want to support my channel, please like and subscribe. I will be live on Sunday, September 28th, making the real version of this dress, so please join me live where you can see all the fun unfold, and I am sure Nightmare will make an appearance. Please let me know in the comments your thoughts about this project, and I will see you guys on Sunday.